Well, congratulations, all you minimum wage protesters. Companies are finally paying up. Unfortunately, just as they're likely to be throwing you out. And all because of something you apparently couldn't figure out. Robots. You are being replaced by robots. Rosie the robot is now cleaning your clocks, which is weird because the Jetsons maid never really had to punch in. She was kind of always there, a permanent presence. And news today, she's about to become a very permanent, ubiquitous presence throughout America. A professor out today with this bold and very scary prediction. Robotics will be the wave of the future, and a lot of minimum wage workers won't be the wave of the future. He points to the signs already. Fast food joints that have automatic drink dispensers, even automatic checkout. I'm telling you, at the rate we're going, those burgers will be the ones cooking. Which brings me back to protesters. You have every right to complain, every right to demand. Neither, unfortunately, guarantees your right to a job. Low pay, high pay. Here is the reality. The world is, well, automating. And at our lowest and most untrained level, you have now succeeded in automating your way right out of a livelihood. Because that's the thing about robots. They don't complain much. In the long term, they really don't cost much. Certainly not nearly as much as you. Outside of Rosie the robot being a little bit flippant, you know, she got the job done and that was it. It's Ashley Pratte who says that robots are the perfect way around those pesky union demands. And Chuck Rocha, who says that robots eventually will unionize and make this a moot point. All right, that's not really what Chuck said. But Chuck, what do you make of this and whether your friends in the union movement and elsewhere should be worried?
We've seen automation come and go. We've automated the car industry, and I'd like to remind all the consumers, all the money that we save with robots, has the price of cars went down? No, it hasn't, because just like our economy, all of that wealth rises to the top. And all these robots seem like a really good idea, but let a bug fly in that hamburger that robot is making. He ain't going to throw it in the trash like your good old Chuck would throw it away. He's just going to serve it up to you, because robots ain't got feelings, just like corporations don't have feelings.
Depending on the worker at that fast food place, and if he or she doesn't like Fox News, trust me, they will add bugs. But having said that, Ashley, what do you make of this and what the professor's saying, that whether you're on the right or the left, whether you're low wage, high wage, robotics is changing the workforce dramatically?
Right. I think employers and small business owners and just, operators in general are realizing that they have to innovate as costs are rising. And one of those costs, Neil, as we move forward, as you mentioned, are those pesky minimum wage protesters who are out there demanding an arbitrary $15 an hour. And that increase is going to jack up costs for the employer and business owners. So as a result, they have to be more innovative. And guess what? Down the line, it is cheaper to have robots there, mixing your drinks. As that article said, they're not going to replace your average bartender, but it will help bring down costs. It is the problem, but you realize union protesters, Chuck, are the ones that are going to be eliminating jobs for the very workers that they say they're fighting for. But real wages haven't went up in 20 years. These guys aren't protesting because they want to protest. They're not protesting in fear of losing their job. You're right.
They're doing it because all of the wealth has went to the top. The working middle class hasn't had any rise in their income.
Union-backed protesters are out there demanding a minimum wage increase to fill their own coffers. That's why they spent over $50 million in 2 years on this fight for 15
but none of these people are in a union.
Well, guys, I think we could argue about whether these guys deserve the raise or not. But what the reality is, they could be speeding up the process that'll kick them out the door. And Chuck, I wonder when you worry about that. I go to many places along the New Jersey Turnpike. This might surprise you, fast food joints. And I'll tell you, more and more of them have everything automated. I got to do everything but cook the burger myself. And I've just noticed that is a trend that I'm sure isn't just escaping me in New Jersey. What do you think?
Look, back in the old days, there was 150 men in a steel mill in one section. Now they automated that, and now we're more efficient in that. But you can't do that with customer service. You can't take feelings. When I talked about the bug flying into your hamburger,
a lot of people don't go to bank tellers anymore because they have ATM machines.
People don't care about feelings or how they feel when they order a burger.
The bank tailor is not feeding you a hamburger.
It's just a simple task. Use that as an example, but automation has led to convenience for a lot of folks who don't like seeing human beings.
Yes, when I go to a bar, for example, I don't want to strike up a conversation with the bartender across the counter. Hiring somebody for $15 an hour versus paying a robot over time, that will be cheaper. And guess what? That pesky Obamacare tax, it's about $2,000 per employee on a small business owner. guess what? Robots don't need health care. So, you know what? That sounds heartless, but this is what unions are driving us to.
I'm not being anti-automation. I'm just being pro-worker. We can't take the worker out of every single element of our economy.
I'm not saying we should, but unions are speeding up that process.
I don't want America to be China. I'd like for us to still be able to achieve the American dream and pay a worker a decent wage.
Have you ever gone on to a BMW plant floor in Germany? I have. It's amazing. I see like one or two angry German guys who come to me over there. But I'm telling you, I make light of it just to make the point that those are some of the finest cars on the planet. I'm not minimizing the human role. I am saying that but that plant that I was at, you know, I didn't see too many humans.
And I spoke of the automation in the beginning. I am not anti-automation. I think it's been a cutting edge. We can't run away from automation.
I think you're running away. I think you're running away. I don't know what's happening to you, Chuck. I ain't never ran away from nothing in my life, Big Daddy. You know that. A machine replaced you in your past, and you're angry.
I just think, Neil, it's ridiculous because groups like the Restaurant Opportunity Center, Rocha, who's out there, they come out and say, you know, I think a year or so ago, that workers will never be replaced with robots or automatic technology. Well, you know what? We're at the point that they are, and you want to know who's speeding that up? Unions. And their own foolishness is causing that.
It's because they want to increase the tip minimum wage to $2.13, which haven't been raised in 35 years.
Oh, my gosh. We can talk about that, but why arbitrary fight for 15?
I want to talk
Come on now. Common economic sense.
No, I want to follow because Ashley has to explain to me what happened to her and a bartender, because that's a whole other issue.
I like for a bartender. I need to tell him my heart's feelings to a bartender.
Next time in New York, we'll get a drink and we'll talk about that bartender, hopefully in front of a robot.
There you go. You are
Ashley,
on.
I'll buy you a drink.
All right.